It could be argued that the fight against doping in all sports is futile because there's so many different people with interest. You've got the athletes that want to make money from the sport, the governing body doesn't want the sport to come into disrepute, the media wants to get as easy a story as possible, and that means being friends with the athletes. You obviously don't have that view, but how is that going to be resolved?
People say, oh, you've got so much doping in sport and it's so difficult to eradicate. I mean, and sport really has tried, I would say not hard enough, but it has tried and it's failed miserably to eradicate doping. So why not just accept that it's there, it's part of sport now, just get on with it? Well, the reason why we can never do that is put yourself in the mindset of you being a father to a gifted athlete. And you've brought him up to say that the truth is important and to believe in the truth. You've brought him up not to cheat. And then he calls you up, maybe, you know, he's brought up in London or he's brought up in Manchester, and then he goes to France and he rings you up and he says, Dad, you know, I now realize that I can't achieve what I want to achieve in cycling unless I dope, because pretty much all my big rivals are doping. What do you say to him? I believe you say to him, son, I'm sorry, you've got to come home. You can't do this, because you'll be building whatever success you might achieve on a lie. You see, everybody that says, well, look, doping is there, doping exists, let's not get obsessed about it and fight a battle that maybe we're never going to win. Those people, they tend to be people who are looking at it from the point of view, I'm a spectator, I'm sitting on my couch, I love records, I love great performances, and I'm not that concerned. Well, my argument always was, you'd be damn concerned if it was your son who faced that dilemma, and you'd say how horrible it is that he had to come in that crossroads in his life where the only way to progress was to cheat. It's just not acceptable, should never be acceptable, and we should fight in more imaginative ways than ever, and we should never give up the fight.
There's a big gap in the record books now, 7 years of Tours de France which haven't got a winner. I think we can safely say that most people don't see Lance Armstrong as a champion anymore, but in your view, who is the best ever cyclist now?
I would say Merckx, for sure. You know, the amount of races he won, the fact that he could win the one-day classics, he could win the short tours, he could win the grand tours, just he could sprint, he could time trial, he could do the lot. The cannibal, they called him, because he just devoured the opposition. And he's definitely the greatest cyclist. Bradley Wiggins has done extremely well to win the Tour de France, win an Olympic gold medal, I mean, in the same year. It's a fantastic achievement. He won plenty of other races this year as well. But in the kind of pantheon of great cyclists, I mean, Bradley doesn't get near really. You know, if I'm thinking of the Tour de France winners that I would regard as truly great, I'm thinking of Merckx, I'm thinking of Jacques Anquetil, I'm thinking of Greg LeMond. They're the kind of people I'm thinking of. And generally I will be going for people who came before EPO, because there was always drugs in cycling, but when EPO came, it really did change the territory. And it meant that people who could never win the Tour de France without it would win it.
Something that set alarm bells ringing for you was not just Lance's dominance, but also that of his team, US Postal. Team Sky seemed to be very dominant this year. Is that something that also worries you?
Team Sky have been so good that people almost say, and Dave Brailsford himself makes this point, you know, the more success we achieve, the more suspicious we look. And that's true, because that's what cycling is now. I really want to believe they're clean. I believe that what Dave Brailsford did on the track was done without drugs. I think they've been sensationally kind of successful. We saw that in Beijing, we've seen that in London 2012. I think Brailsford has applied a lot of the principles that he used with the track team, and he's adapted them to road cycling with tremendous success. I think Sky had the biggest budget, so I think it's natural that they will get the best riders. Jonathan Vaughters, who had Bradley Wiggins on the Garmin team, he said to me, if Bradley Wiggins had stayed with us, we would have won the Tour de France with him. Now, I believe the Garmin team are clean. So a simple question to self, if you believe that Bradley Wiggins would have won the Tour clean with Garmin, why can't you believe that Bradley Wiggins won the Tour clean with Sky? Well, I do believe he won it clean with Sky, because I believe that the race in which he finished fourth for Garmin was a tougher race than last year's race. I think Bradley won a good race, but it wasn't an especially difficult Tour de France. I mean, if Contador is back in 2013, and if we have Chris Froome a year older, a year stronger, it's going to be a tougher race for Bradley Wiggins to win. And my feeling is to say that Team Sky are clean, but that doesn't mean we stop watching and stop watching closely.
For more videos like this, go to youtube.com/GCN.